Hello and welcome again to another episode of Arizona LGBTQ Storytime. We are getting ready to, break in 2024. Hello and hello, DocBev.
Hi, how are you?
I am great. And yourself?
I am awesomely wonderful. How's that?
Great. So a little bit about the podcast and live feed. So we are the Arizona LGBT plus History Project. That is a collaboration between Phoenix Pride, ASU Libraries, myself, to bring together. We also have involvement with this podcast with South Mountain Storytelling Institute and Phoenix Office of Arts and Culture as we try to kind of talk about that desert, that Arizona LGBTQ experience and what makes it a little unique. Now, we have some news in the community. Sad to say that Steve Schemmel passed away a few days ago. He was the director and founder of Janus Theater, which was operating here in Phoenix from 1979 to 1987. Now, they brought to the stage things like Boys in the Band, Torch Song Trilogy, and As Is. And so I'm sure we'll wind up doing a whole show just about him and some of his accomplishments with some of that great theater that he was doing and the story of how that got started. And there's so many great stories with that. Also, we've got the Royale, which just opened up over on Glen Rosa and 7th Avenue. And speaking of 7th Avenue, coming up on March 2nd, we have the Melrose Street Fair coming up from 11 to 5. I know I'll be there because we've got a booth there. And so that'll be lots of fun. So stop by and say hi. And let's see. Oh, and hot off the presses, I just got, let's see, where's my camera? So I did a series of t-shirts. And so we now have Nikolai DeRaylan shirts and bags that each have a QR code that take you to that Emmy Award winning piece that we did with Cronkite about who Nikolai was and kind of his story. So without any further ado, I also want to bring on our special guest today. Hello, Mike.
Hi, kids. How are you?
Hey, welcome.
Good to see you.
So, Mike, for folks who don't know who you are, tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Mike Fornelli. My pronouns are he, him. I am the executive director for Phoenix Pride. I've been doing that since January 1st of 2018. And I used to be, I don't get to say that, the owner of BS West for about 35 years. We just closed our doors the end of December of this year.
Wow. So now, was BS West the only kind of family bar or LGBTQ bar in Scottsdale?
Presently, yes. Over the years, there have been several that have come in and gone, but for some reason, BS West kind of stood this time over the 30 some years that we were there. But there was Forbidden, there was Club Fifth Avenue, there were actually some clubs out in Scottsdale prior to me even moving out here. So there's been some that have come and gone. Yeah.
Nice. And so the building you guys were in, that BS was in, I loved going there because of the stained glass that was out on the patio.
Yeah.
That I always tell people where it came from, Kiva Court, and that it was a part of just kind of Scottsdale history. But tell us a little bit more about that building.
So one of my longtime happy hour customers, Wilson Jones, was actually the original architect on the whole Kiva Center, which we're a part of.
Oh.
The Kiva Center is that whole rectangular area with the courtyard in the middle, and we're kind of on the back side of it. The address is on Fifth Avenue, right? So Wilson was the original architect, and the building was built in 1953, I believe. He actually one day was kind enough to bring me in the original blueprints. So I have the original blueprints from the building, and he would come in every happy hour with his partner Richard, and we would get into conversations about back in the 1950s and 1960s in Scottsdale, and he gave me a little bit of history on the building. So originally, I guess back in the 50s and 60s, Scottsdale was a destination point for a lot of Hollywood celebrities. So the Hotel Valley Ho on Indian School and 68th Street, I guess, was the premier place in Scottsdale where celebrities would come out to vacation from Hollywood. So folks of the likes of like Elizabeth Taylor and that whole crew. So he was telling me one day that our space, actually where our restrooms were right now, was our space was a high-end boutique, and Elizabeth Taylor used to frequent it enough to the point where our restrooms are right now. They built a designated parking area for Elizabeth Taylor to park when she came into the shop, which is really kind of funny. But yeah, so it's that building has been everything from high-end shopping boutique to a stained glass factory, which is where that stained glass mural that you're speaking of originated. It was a couple restaurants. It was a couple bars, a couple LGBTQ bars prior to BS West. It was JR's Hideaway at one point. It was Mr. B's at one point. All of that prior to BS West.
So Mr. B's, I'm assuming that B is for Bartoli.
Yep, Tony Bartoli. He was the he was the master. Tony would have bars for a couple years, and then he'd turn around and sell them. And
Indeed.
So yeah, he's been all over the valley. And it was really nice. The week that we closed, he came into the bar and was giving a couple of our bartenders the history of like back in 50 or 80, 85 and 86, I think is when it was Mr. B's, sometime in that time frame. So giving those kids a little bit of history of a time prior to they didn't even know about.
Wow, what a great little history lesson.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm kind of jealous.
I know, and I'm sorry I missed him. I don't know where I was the day that he came in, but Jimmy, our bar manager, is like, "Hey, some guy came in that said he used to like own a bar here before," and I'm like, "Was it Tony Bartoli?" He's like, "Yeah, that's who it is." So yeah, I didn't get to see him, but I run into him every once in a while around town. He pops up when you least expect him.
And always has a story. Indeed. So so you had mentioned Mr. B's.
Yeah.
JR's Hideaway.
Yeah, so JR's Hideaway is only that was prior to me moving out here. I moved out here from Pittsburgh in Labor Day weekend of 1989. So I never got to experience JR's Hideaway, but I've heard lots of stories about JR's and Lorna. I never met Lorna that owned the business, but I've heard lots of stories about Lorna and her Scottsdale shenanigans.
Oh my gosh. And okay, hold on just a moment, because we also have Jasmine joining us.
Hi,
Hello.
Jasmine.
Hi.
Sorry for my California time difference.
Oh, I didn't realize we're in different time zones now.
Yeah, so I forgot that you're I'm an hour behind you.
Right.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
What was
So,
that?
so our guest is Mike, and so he just closed a bar that BS West that basically he ran for 35 years in Scottsdale.
Amazing. Nice to meet you, Mike.
Nice to meet you as well. And I heard you just moved to the
Yeah.
Bay
Yeah.
Area.
I just moved to Berkeley, California, but I was
Yes.
in Phoenix before that. And I miss it very much.
So, Mike, we were talking about some of the celebrities that would come to visit. You had mentioned Elizabeth Taylor, but were any other celebrities kind of known to hang out at BS West?
There have been a plethora, and I hope I'm not outing anybody or anything, but we've seen the likes of Anderson Cooper, who I know I am not outing.
Anderson Cooper is gay.
Right. But it's funny, Anderson, he was at the bar on a couple different occasions, but he is so unassuming. He would order his cocktail, and he'd have a baseball cap, he'd pull it down like over his eyes, and he'd stand against the walk-in cooler and just watch everything that went on. He was very quiet, very unassuming, unlike some other folks that frequented the bar. But Nate Berkus used to go to the bar a lot. My all-time favorite, Marshall, you and I talked about this. It was during my bartending 7 days a week days, back behind the bar. I was there on a Sunday afternoon, and these very familiar, very flamboyant, for lack of a better term, folks walked into the bar, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Debbie Reynolds and Rip Taylor. They used to have a friend that owned an antique business on Stetson, right around the corner from us. And somehow they stumbled into BS West on a Sunday afternoon when I was working. And they actually, for the next 5, 6 or so months, would frequent BS West on a Sunday afternoon when we had karaoke going on, because Debbie Reynolds owned a hotel in Palm Springs that had like a cabaret lounge, and she would scout singers from karaoke sometimes to take them out to her hotel in Palm Springs.
Wow.
Believe it or not.
That's so cool.
Yeah, very cool. It was very cool.
I don't think you're outing Rip Taylor.
I don't think I'm outing Rip Taylor as well.
Oh my God, I love Rip Taylor. He's like my spirit animal. But
oh yes, and there's probably still glitter in the bar from Rip Taylor.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I don't doubt that at all.
Who else? Oh, my one of my not claims to fame. I had to politely ask Michelle Kwan to leave the bar one evening, because I guess a bunch of ice skaters, they were in town for some event, but unfortunately she was underage at the time, and I had to deny serving her and politely ask her to leave the premises.
Oh my gosh.
Did she
Nowadays
take it
you would
well?
do that, but get a selfie first.
What's that?
Yeah, and say nowadays you would still have to do the same thing, but get a selfie with her first.
Right, exactly. But she was great about it. She understood. She was very, very, very sweet. But I mean, we all did that, right? I was trying to get into bars when I was 17 and 18 too. It worked a lot better back in Pennsylvania.
Same thing with Indiana. It worked a lot better.
Right. Worked a lot better.
Speaking of Pennsylvania, what part of Pennsylvania are you from?
I was born and raised in Erie, Pennsylvania, up on Lake Erie.
Mm-hmm.
And then after high school, I moved to Pittsburgh and went to college and graduate school in Pittsburgh. And I put myself through school by managing a nightclub out there. So when I moved to Arizona, that's kind of how I ended up in the bar business, because that's what I knew how to do. And when I moved out here, I wasn't sure what I wanted to be when I grew up. So I ended up working at BS West and then buying it about 18 months later.
What was the name of the place you managed in Pittsburgh?
The place was called Chauncey's.
Where was it located? Right outside of downtown. I'm from Pittsburgh.
Oh, okay. So it was right across the river, on
Across the river on the south side.
something square. God, it's been that long, I can't remember. But I started. This is a funny story, and I'm going to get myself in trouble for this. I started bartending on the Gateway Clipper fleet. So the three big party boats that go up and down the three rivers, they do everything from dinner cruises to shuttling people back and forth to the stadium when the stadium was still there for like Steelers games and that kind of stuff. And I found out, I wasn't quite out when I was in Pittsburgh, but I found out that they were doing a gay cruise. And I was very, very curious. Like I said, I wasn't out. I hadn't been out to any of the gay bars yet in Pittsburgh. And so I went and applied for a bartending job to see if I could work the gay cruise so I could see what that was all about. And I may or may not have fudged a little bit on my resume saying I had bartending experience, which I really didn't. So let's just say a lot of people on that cruise were drinking gin and tonics or bottled beer, because that's all I knew.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
I think that's so cool that it's like you brought that experience and then brought it here to the Valley with you. I didn't realize you had that connection.
Yeah, I did. I really enjoyed bartending, when I was in Pittsburgh. I enjoyed the experience of, just getting to meet new people and know new people.
Mm-hmm.
And then, when I finally got up the courage to go out to the gay bars in Pittsburgh, I realized that it was totally different than what I had built up in my head. I didn't really know, what to expect. And I wasn't out to family. I wasn't out to friends. So it was, I was a little scared of it. But when I finally got up the courage and went in and found out how welcoming it was, I wanted everybody to have that experience for their first time going into a gay bar. So we kind of brought that mentality to BS West and the, treat people the way you want to be treated and understand that everybody has a different story or a different experience. So you want to make it a safe space for everybody to be able to be their authentic selves.
Very cool. So I know a lot of times bars do a lot of give back to the community. I mean, whether allowing drag shows to go on as fundraisers for a variety of events, or even particular people saying, hey, we're trying to raise money for, that was, I know, really big, even like, especially in the 80s, raising money for all kinds of things.
Sure.
So did BS West do that as well?
Yes, that was another important thing to me, was give back to the community with the safe space we were able to provide. And we did, fundraisers for LGBTQ plus organizations, drag fundraisers, back in the day when Aunt Rita's was bake sales, we did bake sales for Aunt Rita's at BS West, but not just LGBTQ organizations, but organizations and causes that are just important to everybody. So, we work with St. Baldrick's, raise money for them. A lot of cancer foundations. My mom and my sister are both breast cancer survivors, so that's important to me. We did for several years an event called Pink for a Purpose, which was to help assist folks, survivors of breast cancer, and doing what we could do to help them out. So over the years, we did a estimated calculation, but probably about $1.5 million give back to the community through all the fundraising and things that we did at BSWS.
That's great.
Yeah. I think that's important. You have to give back to your community. You have to give back to the people that are giving to you. Right.
Right. Well, and it was amazing just as people were talking about Facebook, so many people got their break on a stage to perform at BS West.
Yes.
So even beyond Debbie Reynolds bringing folks to come sing, but so many performers that are still around town got their chops at BS West.
Yeah. So up until I want to say 2006, 2007, we didn't have a stage. We didn't. BS West was you come and you play pool, you dance a little bit, and you drink, and that was it. We didn't have a lot of programming. We didn't have a lot of stuff. Up until that point, we didn't have karaoke. We didn't have drag shows. We did have on Thursday night. Do you know who Bobby Cook is?
Yeah.
So
why do I know that name?
Because he owns the ranch, the LGBTQ resort ranch.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. Bobby Cook used to be our Thursday night headliner. He would bring in his guitar and he would sit and sing and play his guitar on Thursday nights. And we would do a steak and baked potato special on the grill. It was $5. You got a steak, a baked potato, and you got to listen to Bobby Cook.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is so Scottsdale.
I know, huh? Kind of
crazy.
Kind of crazy. But yeah, so in 2006, 2007, Jaleesa Michaels, Bruce, do you remember Bruce? He used to run the NCC pageant system.
Okay.
He came into the bar. He was a promoter for the US of A pageant system at the time. And he came in and asked me if we would consider having a Miss Scottsdale US of A prelim. So we had the conversation. I knew nothing about pageants. But I was like, okay, we'll do it, but you're going to have to help me. So we got involved. We had it. We had, I think that year we had like 11 contestants. It was crazy. And Michaela K won, and Barbara Seville was first alternate. So Michaela K was Miss Gay Scottsdale, and Barbara was her first alternate. And then that year we took them to Dallas, Texas for nationals. They both competed at nationals, and then Michaela K ended up winning Miss Gay America, which is a different pageant system. So she had to give up her crown. So then we had a ceremony where we crowned Barbara as her successor because Michaela had to give up the crown. And that's kind of how like the drag stuff started, because after having the pageant, I had a conversation. I kind of blame Barbara for it. I'm like, hey, they asked me if I would take over the Arizona pageant system. Like, do you think that's in my wheelhouse. Do you think that's something you can help me with? And Barbara's like, go for it if you think so. And you know, she kind of helped us with it, getting it started, giving me advice on how to handle all things drag. And then shortly after that, we started the Element show at BS West on Friday nights that ran for 15 years.
Wow, I didn't realize that show had been running that long.
Yeah. The original cast was Maya McKenzie, Naomi St. James, Nevaeh McKenzie, Kayla Crawford, Say LaVie, and then Gio and Dallas were like the backup, like in between acts. They would come out, and Lesbian was the DJ. So Lesbian and Maya were actually cast members for all 15 years. The only two from the original cast that stayed the full 15 years. We had transitions with cast members throughout the years, but yeah. That original photo shoot, I'll have to show you a picture. We thought it was the most groundbreaking thing ever.
Oh, I want to see so bad.
It's so we figured, all right, the name of the show is Elements, so we're going to have each person represent a different element. So we had water, we had fire, we had, right? Maya was wood because we couldn't think of a fifth element. So Maya was wood. So we slapped a wooden mask like on half her face, like Phantom of the Opera. She's that. Naomi St. James was water. So she had blue and aqua, like rhinestones, like all on her lips to represent the water thing. Nevaeh was just starting out drag. So we put this stingy red and yellow eyeshadow on her for fire. Sayla was Mother Nature. She was all encompassing. And then Dallas and Gio, half naked, like they always are, like laying in the midst of the girls with this like blue watery looking material running through them. And that was our groundbreaking promo for the Element show 15 years ago.
Wow. You know, something like that, we really should get to AESU for the BJ Budd archives.
Yeah, I have it. I have it all here.
Cool.
Yeah, I have it all here. So
yeah, no, because I mean that's the thing. It's like trying to just figure out how do we document all this stuff. So
yeah, I have a lot of it either digitally or physically. But back to your point of people getting their start on the stage at BS West, shortly after the start of the Element show, which ran on Friday nights, we started another show called Star's Choice, which was on Tuesday nights, and Kendra Couture was the host, and it was like Scottsdale's local version of RuPaul's Drag Race. It was a competition show that would run for an 8-week period of time. We would start out with however many contestants at the beginning of that 8 weeks, and they would get a different challenge every week. And we would have judges that were more seasoned entertainers to give advice and to help mold these entertainers. So a lot of drag entertainers got their start on that Star's Choice stage.
Oh, that's why there were so many, because they were doing kind of like this competition.
Yeah.
Oh, because I was like, it's like one after another. It's like everybody said, "Oh, I got my so." Okay.
Yeah. Every 8 weeks, it would be like a new cast of judges and a new cast of performers coming in until we would crown a winner. And then at the end of the year, we would take the winner from each of those 8-week series and then do like an all-stars. So they would all compete against each other.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was great.
So you've seen pretty much everybody through your doors. I mean, because you also then would do those amazing Halloween productions.
Oh yeah.
That were, I mean, mega productions, not just like a little, let's have some drag queens on a stage.
It didn't start out as a mega production. And we have a little bit of, do you remember Al Perkins? You know Al Perkins.
Yeah.
So Al worked at BS West as the world's best cocktail server for years and years and years. And the very first Halloween show was, I want to say 1994. And it was inside the bar. We had a 4-foot by 4-foot stage at the bottom of the staircase. And Al was a cocktail server. Matt Marotzka was a cocktail server. Myself, either cocktailing or bartending, and Darren, cocktail or bartending. And the four of us would take turns from our bartending shift or our serving shift to go up on the stage and do a number for this Halloween production show that Miss Ellie hosted at the very beginning. Clayton McKee was one of the very first Halloween show special guests, as was Davina. And it, for the first 3 or 4 years, we did it inside the bar, and it just grew and grew and grew and got more popular until it turned into a full-on block party production that we did for 28 years, 27 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So it grew into where we would be production, sound, lighting, stages, porta potties, all of that stuff, and having to get a special permit from the city. And then we would invite guests, and it was like a 3-hour long show with a costume contest in the middle. And we would do a core cast of BS West employees or BS West patrons that were not performers. And Billy Jones would donate time at his dance studio. Well, originally it was Davina at her studio, and then Billy Jones at his studio, and would let us come in and rehearse 3 months in advance. And we would put together an opening number, a middle number, and a closing number with these folks that weren't even performers. And we had Shannon Perkins would come in and help us choreograph. Nancy would come in and help us choreograph. So every year it was a different theme and something different, but it was pretty amazing to have these folks that were not performers, and a lot of them stage fright or very shy, partake and do that. And I have, believe it or not, I've got a box right up here in this closet that has every videotape or DVD of the Halloween show from every single year. Like there's 8mm video up there. There's DVD.
Oh my God, you're talking my language right now. I'm like, oh
yeah. We're gonna have to like get some of that stuff converted onto DVD or something, because it's still on the cassette tapes or 8mm tape.
Oh,
wow.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely help you in that. So,
yeah.
Also, if anyone has access to a beta player, I just had someone loan me some beta things, and I'm like trying to find a Betamax player. Oh, good gosh.
Talk to Clayton McKee. He can find all that kind of stuff.
Oh, I've been hitting other people. I will make a note to hit up Clayton, because that's a perfect.
And remind me to show you the very, very first photograph when Clayton was roommates with Davina, and Davina put Clayton and I in drag for the very first time. Clayton was Winona Ryder, and I was Mazeppa from Gypsy with this big light up butterfly costume.
Oh my God.
That just screams Mike.
You have to see these. Well, and so like after the Halloween show, Aunt Rita's was doing a fundraiser at Winks, and Davina was hosting that, and they invited Clayton and I to come and perform at that to help raise money for Aunt Rita's. And this was now my second time in drag, and I was very used to the costume and all of that. So I was feeling myself, and I did this twirl and this high kick, and I kicked John Breen's drink tray out of it. He was the cocktail waiter there. I kicked it out of his hand. Yeah, crazy,
Wow.
silly stuff. But yeah, I have photographs from all of that.
Wow. And so, okay, so in 35 years, I'm sure the bar changed a lot.
Yeah, so if you step through the doors of BS West back in 1988, it was Pepto-Bismol pink, the whole entire thing. There were 0 windows. There was one door. This was back when you didn't even have to have an emergency exit. There was one door. It was a wooden door. No one could see in, nobody could see out. But back during those times,
Right. That's what you actually want in a bar, because you didn't want people to see you or.
right. There were no other bars or hotels anywhere near us. Scottsdale at that time, where we're located, it was just all of the art shops and the Fifth Avenue shops, that kind of stuff. There were no other bars anywhere near us until Dos Gringos opened. That was the first bar closest to us. It was a dirt lot in front of us. That parking garage didn't go in until 2008.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we did our first major remodel, other than, throughout the years during the 90s, we finally got smart and ripped the carpeting out, because you could still smoke in the bars, and carpet and cigarette smoke do not bode well.
Yeah.
Right.
So we
Indeed.
did small things like that. And we used to have like 30 TVs throughout the bar, because
That place is not that big to have that many TVs.
they were everywhere. It was like cabinet, like that's all it was, because it was a video bar at the time. But it was those big, bulky, heavy, old time TVs. So finally in 2007, we bit the bullet, and we're like, all right, we need to redo this place. So we did a major remodel where we moved the bathrooms from one side of the bar to the other side of the bar, where the pool table room used to be. We moved the pool table room upstairs. We put in new staircase. We put in windows and more doors and all of that kind of stuff. So what BS West looked like today is a little more, from that remodel in 2008. But prior to that, it looked a lot different.
Well, I mean, and that was also just the time period, because it was like, my first bar that had all the windows painted black.
Yeah, because you were afraid, you didn't know what to expect. You didn't know, if you were going to get attacked. You didn't know if you were going to get verbally assaulted. So, all LGBTQ spaces back then were very hidden, were very unassuming. Thankfully, it's not like that anymore.
Exactly. It's like when you look at Cobalt, my gosh, they got the amazing row of windows.
Yep.
So, yeah. So, luckily, it is not the same, which is great.
Yeah. Dr. Beth, I have to ask you a question. Did you ever go to Pegasus in Pittsburgh?
Where is it located?
Yeah, on Liberty Avenue.
I believe so. I don't think it was called Pegasus at the time. Well, I left Pittsburgh in the early 80s.
Okay.
So it may have been called, I keep thinking of the Inver House, but it wasn't the Inver House. There was a club down on Liberty Avenue that I used to go to.
That you have to go down a flight of stairs to get into? Yeah. So that was Pegasus. That was the first gay bar that I ever went to. But that's the bar that Queer as Folk, the bar that they used to hang out in Queer as Folk.
Oh, yeah.
That's the bar that it's based on. even though Queer as Folk was filmed in Toronto,
Mhm.
they reference it being Pittsburgh and Liberty Avenue, and Pegasus is actually the bar that I can't remember the name of the bar in Queer as Folk that it was supposed to be representing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of the darkened windows and things, I remember that it was very difficult to even get into the community to find out where the bars were.
Oh,
Because it had to remain secret because of your safety.
Yep.
And it took me a while to get into that bar. I remember asking people that I knew, they were in the closet, but I knew,
Mm-hmm.
take me to the bar, take me to the bar.
Yeah.
And they didn't want to. One was because I was not of age. And also because of, needing to remain private. And then I moved to Phoenix and it was open. It was it was compared to Pittsburgh, it was
Sure.
open here.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of bars to go to. There was a lot of community. And it was like I was just reborn again. I came out of the closet to my family and everybody. And I'm like, hey, that's why I'm here. So you all, if you don't approve, I don't have to hear it. I'm living my life. And that's what happened to me in Pittsburgh. And so when I think now about the bars that are no longer here, I was thinking about Winks and Talk of the Town and Raggedy Ann and Andy's. There were so many places to go. And now BS West is closed. What's left? Bars or just places in the community for us to come together.
I think though society as a whole has become more accepting, and people can congregate now in spaces where they didn't feel safe congregating before. And pretty much any, how many straight bars or straight restaurants are having drag brunch or drag night or that kind of thing. So, people are feeling more comfortable being able to go other places, which, I mean, that's what we've been fighting for, right? To be accepted and be able to go wherever we want to go. So even though we are losing some of our safe spaces, it's not necessarily a horrible thing because, we're able to go pretty much anywhere in the community now.
Yeah, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I was trying to remember, I went to a club last Friday night and it was karaoke and it was very mixed. Very mixed. It was nice. There was a lot of LGBTQ and it's just everybody got along great. It was I had a great time.
Yeah.
Just don't remember where it was.
Well, you had a really good night then.
Well, I was going to say.
Fun, okay.
In the Bay Area, I've heard a new term because I always think about how boycott is like one of the, I think it's like down to there's less than 25 lesbian bars in the
23.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Boycott's
23.
one of them. And I was looking for I'm in the Bay Area, there has to be a lesbian bar near me. And there's one in the Castro. But then I stumbled upon the term lesbian leaning bars. And there's like a plethora of those.
Mm-hmm.
So I find that so interesting that, they don't make the cut because they're not a gay bar, but you show up and it's like all queer people.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I remember being at the Swizzle Inn here and a lesbian softball team showing up and no one batting an eye.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, this is great.
Yeah. I would say that Swizzle Inn is like a queer leaning bar.
Very much so.
Yeah. A lot of places in Phoenix, honestly. That's why I didn't frequent Boycott that much because I felt like I could go kind of anywhere and I would find gay guys, dime a dozen.
Well, yeah.
In Phoenix, there.
Throw a rock.
I remember the name of the bar. It was Rips on 16th Street.
Oh, okay.
Oh, the old Paco.
Paco. I was just going to say that used to be.
Oh my God! Oh, I love going to Paco.
Yeah.
It was crazy fun. Why do you call it Paco?
It used to be the Hispanic gay bar in town.
Oh
yeah,
my
it
God.
used to be a Latin gay bar called Paco.
Really?
And you could go in and there would be the caballeros with the really huge belt buckle, the like triple start shirt that didn't bend even when they moved, and the hats. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I mean, yeah. So
it was fun.
Indeed. And it's such a great building as well. I mean, I love that building.
What's the cross street?
16th Street in Osborne?
I know it's in that area, yeah.
Just south of Indian
That's
School.
like right where I used to live, and I can't place that building.
Really?
Is it near the
roof was really distinctive because the roof almost comes down to the ground on four corners.
And it was like blue, like a bluish. The building was white, the roof was blue, and it was on the east side of 16th Street.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, if you saw a picture, you'd be like, oh yeah, that building.
I'm going to have to look on Street View.
Indeed. Yeah, no, I have lots of friends that go there for karaoke as well. So from so many different circles, which is great. That's the thing I like about Rips as well.
So cool.
And then I went to one event there that was like a fetish event that was kind of fun. So,
ooh.
But yeah.
What did they do?
Well, and Mike, you had mentioned the name Tony Bartoli. At one point, he had created a list that was like, I think it was 124 bars since like 1940 here in the Valley.
Wow.
And we think that that's actually more like 160 to 180.
What?
Well, I know when I moved here, there was something like 27 bars at one time at that time that were all open and operating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was kind of crazy.
Wow.
So, Mike, what are you doing with your newfound time?
I wish I could say that I have a lot of more extra time, but I really
oh my God.
Phoenix Pride keeps me pretty busy, and I like to try to stay involved in the community with the other partner organization events and that kind of stuff. So, we're getting ready for the Miss and Mr. Phoenix Pride pageant, followed by the Rainbows Festival, followed by Pride Month, followed by getting ready for the festival. So yeah, there's a lot, but it's good. All good.
Right. Oh yeah, no, completely. I mean, I love there's so much going on.
Yeah. But I mean, we love to support other partner organizations. I'm on the line for the Imperial Court, so there's a lot of court events going on prior to coronation. Right. And just supporting Southwest Center, One Community, 1 in 10, Aunt Rita's, everybody else with all of their events too. So stay pretty busy.
Very good. Well, thank you so much for joining us and sharing so much about BS West.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. I'm very happy that we're able to document some of this stuff, and then we'll need to get together with all the memorabilia that I have, and you can help me figure out where it should go.
Indeed. No, would love to do that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I have an idea on where some of it should go, not physically go, but I think we should maybe have a podcast where we show some of it.
We could do that as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, that would be a lot of fun. I mean, especially if we could get some of those photos and have like Clayton maybe talk about.
Yeah.
Oh, it'd be so much fun.
I have it right here on my phone. I can text it to you. Hey, you don't know how many blackmail photos I have on here.
Oh.
My cast members hate me. Like Maya knows that she can never make me mad because I have so many blackmail photos of her that all I have to do is look at her funny and she'll be like, okay, I'll stop. Because she
That's funny.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I mean that would be great. I mean, to just kind of highlight some of that stuff that you, and the fact that it's going to be going to BJ Bud and other places. So yeah,
Cool.
especially once we get some of those videos, even like maybe show some of the clips from some of the
From
shows.
the Halloween stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting to get some of these old ones converted because I don't even remember what's on them because I have no way to watch them.
Right.
Mike Chesworth, he helped us do like promotional videos for the some of the Halloween shows later on. So I have all of that digital, but some of the stuff that's on tape, I'm even afraid to know what's on there.
Woohoo! Well, I look forward to seeing that.
I know, right? Yeah.
All right, Mike, thank you so much and have a great rest of your day.
Yes, thank you all. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Mike. It was nice meeting you.
Nice
so
meeting you.
enjoyed you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye.
You want me to leave the studio?
Nope, I got it taken care of. There you go. So, oh my gosh. Hello and happy 2024 to you two.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh, yeah, Happy New Year.
Happy
Indeed. Well, we know Bev has been out singing all over the place.
Really?
I did not sing. They would have kicked me out. You gotta go. Bye. But I sure had fun dancing and I had a great time. It was very mixed. It was a lot of fun.
That's
I
really
will go there definitely again. When I feel the need to hang out, I'll go there.
Nice. And Jasmine, how are you acclimating to going from Phoenix weather to Bay Area weather, which is very different?
Is it right now? I keep hearing that it's freezing.
Well, right now, no, it's not different at all. But
I keep seeing that it's like freezing cold in Phoenix.
It is.
So I'm
It's
glad
It's very
Well,
chilly.
better because I don't like the cold. It's been fine. I lived here before. I'm used to the weather. It's more my partner who is like, screw this rain. She
Yeah.
doesn't like it. But
It's an unusual amount of rain though, right?
yeah. I mean, we just had like off and on rain for a couple weeks. Today's kind of the first sunny day in a while, but it's still really cold. And then in Southern California, where my family lives, they got like the crazy rainstorm where it was flash flooding, and we didn't get that.
Oh,
You're in the Bay Area?
Hmm.
Oh, it's cold there whether it rains or not. It's always cold to me.
Really? I find it like to be very tolerable. It's like 60 right now.
But it's cold. It's a cold 60, especially if the wind is blowing.
Well, it's not windy where I live, like thankfully, and it's not very cloudy. It doesn't stay cloudy for too long.
well, you know, it's 59 here right now.
Oh, so we're kind of having the same.
Yeah, so it's very comparable.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm adjusting well though. I mean, I got a cold, which sucks.
Indeed, yes.
But that wasn't weather related. It's from a toddler that I watch who.
Right, exactly. That's kids bringing all kinds of things.
Disgusting. Yeah. How are you all? How was China?
Oh my God,
so
had such an
wild.
amazing adventure in Shanghai.
Wow.
You know, and it's funny because we kept trying to get to, there's the gayborhood that we didn't get to, but then there's also another gay bar that's been there since like the 90s that I was like, we got to go, and just ran out of time. So next time I go back, then I'll be sure and hit some of those places.
Yeah.
How long were you there?
2.5 weeks.
Oh my goodness.
That's amazing.
And it was, I mean, oh my God, ate so much amazing food.
I bet.
I mean, Tibetan, Buddhist. I mean, it was like this global
Oh,
round. So yeah, and some incredible cocktails, some kind of weak cocktails. It was just a fun I mean, you know, it was like even going to a shopping malls are huge there.
oh,
I mean, and it's like there was one that's like all these like high end where like Prada's like the lowest thing on the,
oh my gosh.
and then there was one mall that was nothing but pretty much like cosplay characters.
Really?
Yeah. So I mean they all have their own little like niches they go into. So it was very fun.
Wow.
So
I may
You
have,
know, my sister is like touring China right now.
what?
She's
oh
on tour in a musical. It's a sequel to Phantom of the Opera. Love
Oh,
Never
'cause
Dies. Have you
because
heard of it?
we did go see a musical while we were there, which was The Great Comet of 1812, which was hilarious.
Oh, yeah. I don't think that she's been to Shanghai yet on her tour. I don't know where the last city is that she's been at. It's all names that I don't recognize.
Well, and she's on task. I mean, when she's there, it's not like, hey, let's go tour the city and go enjoy the
Yeah.
city. And oh, I have a show coming up.
Right.
Yeah, she's
So,
working.
right.
So she's been going she's in a different city like every other day. It seems like
Wow.
from her Instagram. That's how I keep up with what she's doing.
Right.
But yeah, she is gonna be there until May,
Wow.
and she
nice.
left in August. So she's gonna have a whole she's gonna touch every part of China, I guess.
Right.
Hmm.
So, you know, it's like talking to Mike and him talking like his first bar experience. So, Bev, so you had mentioned it was hard for you to get into that bar. What was it like once you got in?
It was like that going to heaven.
Yeah, yeah.
And what about you, Jasmine? Where was your first bar?
Like my first gay bar.
Yeah.
Well, my first gay bar was actually not that long ago, because I grew up in Santa Barbara. They have like bars that do drag nights, but they don't have a gay bar. I went,
So, like,
you know, I went
so
to
they have a
those.
leaning bars.
But it's not even because I don't think I ever met a gay person in Santa Barbara, California, except for the drag performers. So I would go to the drag nights, but it was still all straight people in the audience. My first time going to a lesbian bar was Gossip Grill in San Diego. Have either of you been there?
I've heard of it, but I've not been.
It was like Bev said, heaven. I didn't know heaven could exist on earth until I stepped foot into a lesbian bar where all I could see were women on women and women and women and women,
Yeah.
like a sea of women, and I knew that they were queer, like all in the same club. So,
My first lesbian bar was actually in Phoenix.
oh really?
Yeah, the bar in Pittsburgh was mostly men. The Talk of the Town was my first lesbian bar.
Ah.
I remember we had met some people right away when we got here, me and my girlfriend. And she says, we're going to take you to where the wild, wild women are. Wild, wild west, wild, wild women. And we go in the back door and it's just packed. Nothing but women. And I just stood there like, I've died and gone to heaven. For real, I'm there. It was just such a beautiful thing, which brings to mind that one of the things experienced going to the women's bars was the secretiveness of it. It was like, I got a secret and you don't know what it is. It made it even more exciting to have that secret.
Totally.
So now that we've fought for our rights and got them, and I'm so glad we have, that part is no longer, it's no longer secretive or exciting because now everybody can go to wherever they want.
Yeah. Which, yeah, I mean, I think that the other side of that coin is, for me, it took me so long to find a space like Gossip Girl where I was like, holy crap, this is a crowd full of queer women as far as I could see. And it's like quite euphoric, and it really helps in like any step that you are on in your sexuality exploration or processing. And so I feel like having those spaces that are, you know, lesbian bars, gay bars, like even though we are being incorporated into the norm and the mainstream and being accepted, and that's beautiful and exactly what we've wanted, we are still wanting those spaces for our, you know, our younger generations and people to still find community, because it should be more accessible and it can help. I don't know.
Well, you know, it's like when you're talking about lesbians, I was thinking, it's like, oh, my first lesbian hour was in New York City at Click Club. But then I realized back in Indianapolis, there was a lesbian bar. I can't think of the name of it. It was very drag heavy because for some reason the lesbians in Indiana love drag.
Drag kings?
No, drag queens.
Oh, okay.
This was, I mean, this would have been the late 80s. And so drag kings weren't even a thing at that point. And so, but you know, it's funny because I think as more and more bars are just kind of open to everyone, I know I've heard complaints from some younger folks that are like, we need queer spaces that are safe where we can go in like eyeshadow that might not be well applied because you don't know what you're doing. So it's kind of like, where can you go explore and where can you go be outsiders?
Yeah.
And
right.
So.
Yeah. Because every space can feel safe to a certain extent, but like having a queer safe space that is, you know, for queer people, and that's where you can find them and congregate, is like going further than just purely making us feel safe in a public space. You know, that's like going further and making us feel accepted and relating and finding, you know, inspiration and knowing that you're not alone. And so
another part of that is if you're single and you're in a space that's mixed, you don't know who you can talk to, you know, and you don't want to offend anybody, or you don't want someone getting, you know, nasty with you because you like them or you find them attractive or for some reason, you know.
Yeah.
Just you don't have that that ability unless someone tells you or you know. When I was at Rips, one of the people that I was with there is straight, and someone, a lady hit on her, and but she's so open-minded, it didn't bother her. She had fun with it, but that's not always how it goes, you know. She could have been another friend of mine who's homophobic, who would have been irritated by it. And so not having those spaces, it limits some things that you can do.
Yeah.
Well, and I just think it's like, you know, I think with like so much cosplay, I'm kind of surprised there's not like a cosplay bar where you could go in and be, I mean, that's more just people, I don't want to say not even queer people or straight people, but just kind of more people on the edge. Kind of, I guess, that like a fringe community type thing. I mean, and for some ways, it's like when I look at like, oh gosh, it was over on Grand Avenue, and now it's, and I can't. Of course, I'm blanking on the name. But I mean, it's very much outsider.
Bikini Lounge?
No, not Bikini. It's now over on 3rd Street, and I can't believe that it's like Jersey and Steph are going to be like, what? You couldn't think of what we were called?
Grand Avenue and what?
Well, it was Grand Avenue. It's what is now. Oh God, that, you know,
what is now that brewery place?
So it's now a coffee shop. It's now Trans Am.
Camelback?
For that, it's actually now in a church over on like 3rd Street in Moreland. Oh, good gosh, I can't believe I can't. And I was just talking about it. And so, well, because one of the things I'm working on right now is trying to put together a list of LGBTQ musicians in Arizona.
Oh, okay.
And Trunk Space. That's what I was trying to think of. Is it's kind of that space where it's like, you know, queer, non-queer, but just kind of more creative and kind of on that of that fringe of doing different things. Where I know a lot of queer musicians who got their start at Trunk Space just because they would have a stage and you could get up there and do almost anything and find an audience.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so it's like, because actually Ryan from there, who used to do a lot of volunteering with them, just gave me a list of LGBTQ musicians from like the 2000s that were active in Arizona.
Oh.
Including, oh my God. And I kind of want to listen. There's nothing attached. It's like, there's no music, but there's one guy who was like this 80-year-old rapper from Canada who moved to Phoenix. No, he moved to Prescott.
Really?
And someone convinced him to start doing rap. And so Ryan said he did an album with a couple of his songs on it. So I'm like, I kind of want to hear them, not because they're going to be really good.
They may be though.
Yeah, you never know.
I mean, good has so many different perspectives. I mean, it's like, I listen. I mean, there's so much music that I listen to just because it's enjoyable, but not good.
Sure.
So
Okay.
I mean, you've got like the Shags. I mean, there's lots of just almost like painful music to listen to. It's so bad. So, oh my gosh. Okay. So, already looking forward to the next episode because I miss you two so much. It's been so long since I've seen you.
I know.
So, definitely we will get back together and I will let you know. I'm actually thinking right now, there's a guy from Prescott who's been doing a lot of work up there in terms of just trying to document their history.
Oh, okay.
For the LGBT. And I just kind of love that kind of like almost like small town gay experience in Arizona. So I will definitely let you know when we're getting ready for that.
Okay. Was the schoolhouse in Prescott? There's a bar named the Schoolhouse.
Oh, I know nothing about Prescott.
Okay.
So
we can ask him though.
Yeah, I mean, he's actually been doing drag shows for holidays at the Elks Lodge, the Elks Theater up there, which is a gorgeous theater. And so,
okay.
All right. Well, it's always delightful to see you. Oh, so DocBev, what are you doing March 2nd?
I will be in Florida.
Oh, dang. Okay.
I'm going to help my sister. She's moving. I'm going to assist her. And while I'm there, I'm going to also spend time contracting with some work to do with Circus Olay.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Yeah, I've got a friend who's actually doing some like marketing with them down in Tucson. So,
oh, really?
Yeah.
We can talk about that. Marketing with Circus Olay. When are they going to be in Tucson?
I don't know. It must be coming up because I'm starting to see more and more ads for it. So it must be popping up fairly soon.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to do some stuff out there. So I'll be gone. Pretty good time.
Okay.
Not sure how long, but I'll definitely be there March 2nd.
Okay. Well, you're going to miss the Melrose Street Fair, which is always a lot of fun.
Oh, I know. When it's like, oh man, I won't even be here for it.
I know. It's like when you didn't respond back, I was like, oh, I bet she's not going to be in town. So
nope, I'm not going to. But
wah, wah.
I can look forward to next year.
And indeed. So, all right, you two. Well, always good to see you. Look forward to seeing you again soon.
Okay.
Yes.
So, all right. So let me, oh gosh. Oh, it's like, I'm so busy like chatting. I'm like, oh yeah, we've got that music we got to start up. So let's see.
Oh,
and I got it helps if you turn the volume up. All right. Well, everybody, thank you all so much. This has been, and I added the word Arizona because, we were so hard to find. Because if you just do like LGBTQ on Spotify, oh, good gosh, you get a ton of stuff.
Oh, I bet.
yeah.
So, yeah. So we added that and let's see. Oh, there we go. Our outro music. So thank you so much. Again, thank you, Mike, for coming on and sharing some of that amazing BF West stuff. And I know he's already sent me some of the photos. I look forward to seeing those. All right, everybody. See y'all soon.
Bye.